Mark. And background and action.
A young boy near a hole, a well or something. He falls in the hole. His parents call 911. We come. All of us are a little bit too big to fit into this hole, so we incorporate the use of his brother, strap him up, and his brother's brave enough. And the actor who's doing this is really great, and we're able to lower him in. He's able to grab his brother and pull him out of the hole.
And this scene from the early days of season 8 is classic 911. The hit show never fails to bring the drama as it tells the stories of firefighters and first responders.
Miles, you okay? Good, buddy?
And to ensure the on-screen action is accurate, the actors often share the spotlight with real firefighters, a mutually beneficial partnership that keeps 911 fans coming back for more.
The real firefighters, they bring the authenticity. So much of what we do, we have to go to them for. We have to ask them, okay, what would you do in this scenario? How would you treat them or talk to a certain patient? And as far as getting them to the hospital, what's in between that? How do we make that visible for the audience?
The actors are great also because they really want to know how everything is done the right way. And they really take a lot of pride in displaying how firefighters are. You know, we try to show them how things are done or how we would say things, and they're real open to it all the time because they want to make it look real. And they want to represent the LAFD in a positive light.
For us to be able to try and keep it as real as we can get it, trying to make sure that we're represented properly, or even out there in the field, people want to compare us to TV. So it's like, if we're going to compare us to TV, at least let's have something comparable that's actually what we do. We still have to exaggerate because it's TV, give somebody exciting things to look at, but we try to keep it as, close to what we do for real.
Our job is basically what we like to call technical background. We work with the stars, helping them learn the tools and equipment, how to use them properly, safely. We also work alongside with the regular background, who could be anywhere from a grandma from Detroit that's never seen a fire hose in her life, or young kids with no experience. And we work alongside them and demonstrate the tools, show them how to hold them, how to walk with them safely, how to fill a scene as an active firefighter would at an actual incident.
The real firefighters take their cues from LAFD retired Battalion Chief Michael Bowman. He's the show's technical advisor, and the stars will tell you Bowman and his team are invaluable.
There are times when the writers will reach out to Mike Bowman, and whether it's a piece of dialogue or some know-how about a certain situation, about how the firefighters would do it, they reach out to him and defer to him in the scene. So some of my more technical dialogue that I might utter about a medical case, or even calling in to dispatch for USAR, for rescue, that'll come from Mike Bowman himself, because they want it to be as authentic as possible.
I'm looking that we technically do everything accurately that you would do as far as our protocols on the fire department, our protocols with the LA County EMS system. It's very important that we do things right and replicate what we do here in the city of Los Angeles and the LA County EMS system, that we portray that accurately.
911, what's your emergency?
And beyond the excitement of big explosions and high-stakes rescues, 911 also opens the door to everyday life in the firehouse. And you better believe the fake fire station is as real as possible, while also being a little Hollywood.
Yeah, we don't see too many LAFD firehouses like this with the loft and pool table, and this is definitely modernized firehouse, but it's good. I mean, it adds a different vibe to the set, and it's actually kind of cool for the show. This is kind of like our home environment. There's chores to be done, where you'll see background actors walking across, picking up a tool, doing some maintenance on it. Maybe somebody's mopping the floor, sweeping the floor. Somebody's in the kitchen cooking. This is our home for 24 hours, and it's really no different on the set. We try to bring all that reality of a firehouse to the show.
What you're seeing now is a fire station for 911, and it's a converted warehouse that's made up just like an LA City Fire Department fire station. And so what I wanted you guys to be able to see is how we portray what goes on in a fire station, the life in a fire station. show them cooking a meal together and how big deal, what important it is, and when they're all together and the camaraderie they share together in doing so. I came on board, that was one of the focus points that I did with our art director on 911. I took him and his staff to several fire stations in the city of Los Angeles, took him to Fireboat 2, took him to Metro Fire Command, and took him to Air Operations. So they got to see a whole gamut of fire department and fire stations. So they've come back and they've really gone way out in purchasing what they would see it's indicative of a LA fire station. So as you can see here, they have similar type of stoves and cooking utensils and tables and the rec room, the training room, the locker room, and so it makes it real nice because it's very much makes you feel like an LA fire station.
And one quick note about that locker room with windows for walls.
They do a great job of showing what a real dressing room looks like. I don't know if you want to pan over there. It's nice and clear. There we go. That's all Bowman. For some reason, Bowman said, we all just change in front of each other. I don't know. Seems a little suspect to me.
And action!
But of course, this is 911, so there's even drama in the fire station, like when Captain Gerard went down for the count. The scene comes together like a well-choreographed dance with real-life medical professionals as advisors and retired firefighters on gurney duty, all working together to blur the lines between real and make-believe.
It does give you a sense of pride, a sense of that's how we really do it, as opposed to some of these other shows where, you know, they do things that are way out of character we would never do. So that does bring a sense of pride to you.
We utilize real people whenever we do anything technical. In this case, the scene calls for them to go ahead and load them up in the gurney, the victim on the gurney, and transport them. We would never have just actors or just background or laymen do that. And so we're going to use professional firefighters and professional paramedics.
Working with real firefighters on the show brings a certain amount of stability and obviously knowledge of what to do in certain situations. But if there's something about, you know, moving a person safely from place to another, we let the real firefighters do it so that nobody gets hurt.
I'm an EMT, but I'm also a cardiovascular perfusionist. Basically what we do as a medical technical advisor is that we try to ensure medical accuracy during the different scenes, how a wound would look in a particular situation, how you address that wound, and then also in terms of how to say certain words as well. We want to portray what LAFD does very accurately.
You know, people learn by observing, and if we're doing something that is potentially unsafe, that would be a disservice. So Bowman, he is an extension of the fire department and fire training that takes place when the audience gets to watch our shows.
It's all very much a balancing act, keeping the show grounded in reality while keeping the audience thoroughly entertained.
Well, we just blew up a semi-truck, so we blew up a semi-truck with a bunch of stuff on it, and we blew up the tractor trailer with propane poppers. You don't want a cheesy product, and you want to see how the firefighters do it. And Bowman's great. He's yelling at everybody all the time, so they must love him.
We deal with the directors, the producers. Bowman will help me if I need advice on if something looks right. So let's say we have a car accident and they lose their leg. So they want the leg to go off. So we have to figure out how to do that. And then we ask them like, hey Bowman, does this look like it'd be real? So I'm really glad he's here as far as that reference goes. So we get a lot of realism from him. He's a big help.
And long before the 911 cameras roll on any on-screen emergency, the actors are doing their part as well in the name of keeping it real.
So many guest artist parts, you're thrown in. You know, you're kind of catapulted into a situation where the crew is up and running and there's very little prep time. They gave us 2 days of training at the Fire Academy, and I've got to tell you that me personally, I've loved firemen, but getting to work with them at the Fire Academy, especially Mike Bowman, to do all, not all, sorry, that'd be a big exaggeration, but to do probably a small segment of the training at the Academy, for me, for some reason, those days were more substantive and rich. And my memory of those days is vibrant. You know, to have Mike This is a Halligan. I love the name Halligan, by the way. This is Halligan. It's fun to say. So if there had been Halligans, Shakespeare would have put it in one of his sonnets, I'm sure. And the Jaws of Life. And we got to work with 2 different sets of Jaws of Life, because there was the older ones that were gas-powered, and then there's the new ones that are electric-powered. Breaking through a door using the Halligan to get in. Just the purpose of all the gear. But for me personally, the rich part of it was being there with all the firemen.
I got invited to Station 61. Shout out to my boys. It was only one day, but they showed me around. They showed me what firefighters are real about. And what I loved about it is it's a family. It really is. That's why we kind of read so well with the 118. We emulate the same thing you guys do every single day. It was incredible. You know, guys dogging each other and showing up and showing up for each other in like the worst situations as well. So it was awesome to be a part of.
Or if they weren't actors on 911, we'd be recruiting them on the LAFD.
Over here!
You're representing not only the LA City Fire Department, but you're representing fire departments across the nation. And so we all take a lot of pride in the execution of a firefighter's performance and fire department's performance from their show.
Good job, Miles! Got him right. Let's get him over here.